stocking a lot of beer on my bookshelf.
Seeing as I'm driving us tonight, I'm trying not to get too terribly crazy. What's up?
Hey guys.
He got you. He got you.
How's
there.
it going? Here at the office.
Hello, Facebook and
yeah.
YouTube world.
Yeah, what's up? I'm back.
Josh is back. Hey, sorry we're late tonight. One of our good buddies here at the shop, Ernie, dropped in right before closing and had a special stout that he wanted us to try.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we used him during sound check. He didn't want to be on the show tonight, but so
Perhaps
I
sometime
kind of
very
tricked him
soon.
into being on at least the sound check, and we did a what was that? It was Mott the
Lesser. And oh
Big
my God,
stout.
it's good.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was really good.
And that's the first sip of booze that I've actually had.
Russian Imperial,
Yeah.
aged in 4 different oak barrels. It's the original recipe that he did under another brewery. Something we have in the shop, flavored with coffee right now. The old Boston Whaler itself, the Harpoon.
The brewer and owner here was one of the original brewers for Harpoon. I don't think it's a bad thing to say that. And he's a really good brewer. He had the #1 beer in the world for several years in a row.
I mean, that's actually a success story.
Yeah.
You work with a brewery, you have your own recipe, you take that and you start your own new brewery. I mean, who wouldn't be stoked?
Yeah.
And just mentioning Harpoon in that is like,
But this
it's a nod.
yeah.
So
But yeah, so shout out to Ernie for bringing us a 4-year-old bottle of this. So it's been aged properly for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's 5 years.
Actually,
Well, that's
2016. he said
5
it was.
years.
that's bottle aged.
Yeah,
that's
bottle
aged
aged.
1 year in the oak barrel.
Yeah, so I mean, this is one of those things like you luck into having beers like this, and thank you again, Ernie. Seriously,
Yeah, I can just, I'll just be the one to say it. I really love the malt bill in that. Just dark beer. Dark beer season's here. And I know I'm holding an IPA. I'm cracking an IPA. That's what I'm drinking right now. It's by Mother Earth.
I'm just drinking my palate cleanser, which is a Clousty. I'm easing back in, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I cracked open a Bended Tree Chestnut Brown. It's
good to see those.
Nice, solid little beer. It's going to be a good palate cleanser. It's a neutral little flavor. So yeah, I'm actually excited that Josh is back, even though he's only been out really 1 week. I mean, because you came in for the NA tasting with Manker.
Yeah, but it's like with the whole sobriety thing, there's just an aspect of it that you miss.
Let's not call it sobriety. Let's call it sober month.
Sober month, yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah,
because there are people that we do have to take it seriously. There are people that sobriety is something serious.
Yes, and that's in no way, shape, or form is what
sober month is. It was serious for you, but it's not in the same vein.
It's not at all. Not at all. Absolutely, you're 100% correct, Rob.
So with that being said, I think I've got a white wine. I know we've got one dark beer, correct?
Yes. I brought a dark beer.
And then I've got one. I just got the Italian Pils right there. I don't think we've done that on the show.
So we have Italian Pils, we have a dark beer, and then we have the white wine. How dark is this? Is this?
It's a porter,
that's super dark.
Imperial and barrel aged.
So that actually needs to go last, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to start with wine and just work our way through the beer after that?
I think that's probably a good call.
I'm okay with that. Super refreshing, by the way, with my IPA. The long weekend.
Yeah, I've been curious about that one.
I'm actually pretty stoked because we have a lot of different dark beers, seasonal choices, and then we've got a lot of just like really big IPAs, citrus hazy. Like
we're also in Studio B tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you were wondering, we did have a group of ladies, great ladies.
Absolutely,
they were celebrating a little birthday party. They went a little past 8, so we couldn't set up there. So we decided to move back to the Studio B. Josh closed them out and got back here as soon as he could.
Oh, yeah.
So
it does bring up an opportune moment. And if you like our backdrop, these are available. Handmade by Bruce Long.
Yeah, custom-made American flags made by a Canadian.
Probably drinking, watching us right now.
Neither him nor Brittany have checked in yet. But so we're going to start with the wine. Now, I'm actually doing this for a reason tonight. This is the Coliano white wine with maceration. We're going to get into all that. But the reason I'm doing this tonight is, and I think I might do this maybe regularly, just since we're spotlighting it in the shop for the week. There's
I
no
agree. It's a
reason we
great
shouldn't
idea.
Spotlight it on the show and talk about it, and then maybe if you like what we say about it, you can come in and try it. So
By
our
spotlight, explain that, Rob.
Our spotlight program, we'll bring in one wine a week. We work with our distributor, and they're going to give us a sample bottle, and that sample bottle is for you to try.
Yeah.
So if you have any, Josh just being silly.
Huh?
If you have any,
I can read it. Can you,
desire
internet?
to try the spotlight wine, all you have to do is ask one of the managers to pour you a little sip. You're not going to get a glass of it. You're not going to get it's going to be a sip, but it's going to be enough that you're going to be able to determine whether you like it or not. If you like it, great. We'll have the case of it to, buy the bottle. If you don't like it, no skin off our back. Just, move on to something else.
Moral of the story: try the sample.
Yeah, there's no reason not to try it.
It's free.
We've had 2 red wines for the past 2 weeks, and we are doing a white wine this week. This one, like it says, a Colliano white wine with maceration. This is from, anybody know?
Come on, who knows it?
That's what, Slovenia?
That's right, Slovenia.
I'm so glad he said that because I was like,
Yes, and as I said on the post, it's fun to finally see wines from former Soviet Union aligned countries actually getting out.
Was Slovenia Soviet?
Slovenia was
That was
Yugoslavia,
yeah, it was part of the Yugoslavian
which was definitely
Republic, I think is what they call it. But everybody knows that. What was that, Tito? That Tito was a puppet of the USSR. I mean, it was.
And one of the things was a lot of these wines.
Thanks, Josh.
We've talked about it before, where like
So they called it Eastern.
The
It's
Eastern
not
Bloc.
tech. It's Eastern Bloc nation because
Yeah.
it's separate from.
And we've
the
talked
US.
before where a lot of these Eastern Bloc or Soviet-aligned countries, their wines went to only the Soviet Union, did not go anywhere else. This is an example of them. Of course, my favorite Georgian wines was the heart of Moscow and the Kremlin, but these were the workhorse. These guys, Colliano and stuff like that, they were kind of like what's Bartles and James, not necessarily Bartles and James, but
they're like Gallo wines and
they're
stuff like
Gallo.
that.
I mean, they were producing lots of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that's also worth noting, just on that geographic note, is how close to Italy this is. This is basically
Actually, yes.
The Mountain Valley is basically like a horseshoe cut out of Italy because it just happens to be that water drainage went that way, and this so there's a
After
mountain.
World War I, it became
Yeah,
part
I
of
was gonna say,
Slovenia,
it was
right?
That's right.
Before World War One, it was part of Italy. After World War One, it was part of
And there
Slovenia.
are vineyard workers who are permitted
back and forth.
all even during the Eastern Bloc time. So
Yeah.
I just think it's don't think this has such a strange thing. This is very close and akin to the Italian tradition of
And
wines,
they
but
were-
there is
they've been
slight
make-
differences.
They've been making wine just as long as the Italians, the French, the Greeks,
Absolutely.
They've been making wine forever as well. So I said with maceration, that was actually highlighted because what that is Nick.
Is macerated. No. Well, I was talking about this earlier, right? And
Yes.
just taking a look at this glass, we can already see that. You said it's white wine, but it has a very rose or orange kind of
yeah.
tint to it. And then when you name the grapes that make up this wine, one of them even has the word rubella in it, which tells you it's a red grape. Again, naming some of the other grapes, people would think, well, aren't those red wine grapes? How are you guys drinking a white wine? This is done similar style to a white Pinot Noir
rosé.
that we had, or how some rosés are done, where the wine is just like broken and macerated, and for a short period of time, the pigment of the skins of the grapes is allowed to tint this, but then that juice is dropped immediately. Usually just gravity, but some form of filtration. You could actually siphon off the top, or however you want to do it. That actually says what type of wine you're doing. But then they're going to age that wine in something else, okay? And it will be apart from the skins. When we talk about macerated grapes, too, is that where... there's all kinds of techniques about when we're going to add yeast and what parts of the fruit we're going to do it to. Sometimes they do whole clusters. Sometimes they break the grapes. When we talk about macerated, that's what they've done. They've actually broken and exposed the juice to the flesh to the yeast. Sometimes, you'll see a whole grape and they wait till they just burst on their own, and that's part of the fermentation. Sometimes they macerate, filtrate, and then we're stuck with white juice, and then that's when the yeast is pitched.
So I think one of the things to note that's different in a white wine maceration versus a rosé.
Yes.
Generally, now we've talked before many moons ago that pretty much all grapes have a dark skin color to them. The juice, I take back, the juice is clear. The grapes the skin color is what differentiates red and white. The general rosé is going to take like a lighter, very light red red wine grape, and do basically maceration, but it's very quick. And we're talking hours.
2 hours. I mean, by that point, you're starting to stain that fluid.
Now, with maceration, we're going with darker grapes, and it's a little bit longer. It's basically going to be just before it goes red. Mm-hmm. And then they're pulling the...
I mean, it definitely has a far more orange tone than, say, a
and that
Provençal
is where we're getting
rosé.
Orange wine, and is actually a style, and it's really been a European style for ages, and it's just now starting to get a foothold in the U.S.
I forgot how much I like.
It's like a rosé, but it's not a rosé, but it is a rosé. It's one of that weird.
It doesn't have as much acid as a rosé would have. It's it almost has a little.
Well, these are mostly white grapes, right?
No, these are mostly red grapes.
Okay, I was going to say, read that list again, and you'll see that I think the...
Well, and most of the list of grapes on here are not going to be recognizable. But they are red grapes. There's the 40% Ribolla Gala, which they say is Ribula.
Yeah, and to me, that says it's a red... That says it
30%
right in the title.
Malvasia. Malvasia is a red
grape.
Yeah.
Deep dark grape. That's one I'm very familiar with from Italy and Georgia.
Your bifocal's getting to you?
Yeah, exactly. 30%. Now, this is not Sangiovese. It's Savignonese, which is a new grape I have not heard. Savignonese, which I believe Manker told us. Was it Manker? No, the rep. Who's the rep on this one? Branson. Sorry, Branson. I believe Branson told us that this one actually, that Savignonese is kind of like fake Sauvignon. They thought it was Cabernet
Sauvignon-ish. Because it's like whatever like the finisher on the word is means ish in like Slovenian or whatever.
Yep.
So they literally just call it Sauvignon-ish.
I could go with that.
So yeah, no, they're all definitely red, dark red grapes.
Okay, cool.
But man, the palate on this, the nose on this, I mean, it's a very light nose. You're not going to get a lot of tannin or big berry fruit on it, but you're getting, I mean, this is where rosé would be a spring summer wine. I think this definitely fits into a fall wine.
Yeah.
Definitely a heavier body and mouthfeel.
Yeah, there definitely is a complexity there to the body.
There's like a complexity, but it's also not complex in the same breath, if that makes any sense.
It's
like,
not overdoing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's light and easy, but not Light.
There's a little bit of acid there, but not as much as you're going to get in most rosés.
Oh yeah, no, it's a very tasty one.
There's a small little tannic buzz. There just is mouthfeel.
It's like raspberry versus like strawberry, which is not like a flavor you normally get with your rosés.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There's slight tannic, but it's like you said, it's more the mouthfeel. It's more like there's something going on there throughout the whole taste.
Just reminds you, it's not just a straight up white wine. Yeah, there's more to it. I'm always Josh always loves it when I. What fruit do you taste in there, Nick? Grapes. I taste grapes like I'm eating grapes.
It doesn't taste that grapey to me.
Grapey.
I'm very pleased with it. And almost like there's a little mallow going on with it, but I think that comes from the probably the oak aging.
Yeah.
Maybe a little vanilla more than mallow.
It's almost like an oxidative taste, but not in a bad way, if that makes any sense.
How about food? I know it's a little early in the show to talk about food because we normally talk later than that. But
I think it go great with kimchi.
you think everything goes great with kimchi?
No. You know what doesn't go good with kimchi? Peppermint schnapps.
I'll buy that.
That's terrible. Don't ever do that. Please.
Basically, only one reason I can think of drinking peppermint schnapps. Never mind.
I'm thinking
Schnapps the button right off goes.
I'm thinking this is a soft cheese wine.
I'm thinking cheese to go with this. I'm also I don't really know what
fruit.
What like Mediterranean salmon tastes like, or like if there is a thing like that. I'd be very curious to know like what kind of fish are climbing through the Adriatic into these mountain streams and stuff. There probably is. I don't know, but I'd give it a shot.
I'm thinking like camembert and apples or pears.
I would go more pear with this than apple, unless it was definitely not Red Delicious. I think some of the other varieties of apple would be good, not Granny Smith either.
I don't know that this would hold up to a salmon.
You don't think so? Okay.
I think it takes a much lighter fish.
Well, so that's why I'm wondering: is there like a lighter, whiter type of fish that would be like
probably literally any other fish.
Salmon
just tastes like salmon.
Escalar, that they call white tuna.
That's now we're talking.
Escalar would be cool. I honestly think like actual sardines would be good with this. I'm not talking like canned sardines because like you can eat them many different ways. We just always see them in cans here. But like small bony fish would be really good with this.
I have a problem eating small bony fish. I'm going to eat.
You tell me it's bony fish. I want to be able to pick in between the bones.
I want the sardines to not be able to taste the bones.
Well, you just eat the bones.
Rob needs like a head-on Goliath grouper or something.
Man.
Got him going, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, like halibut or pollock would be good too.
Well,
so like a white fish. Like
I brought up the fish thing just to discuss this.
Whatever you throw in a bouillabaisse.
Like grilled or like in
there's probably like a Mediterranean sea bass or something like that. They'd be like, oh, that's what we do.
Oh yeah, like a barramundi is Asian, right?
Barramundi, I've heard that. Jeremy Wade goes after that.
I gotta say, I'm digging that, man.
I like it. And back to Rob there, the cheeses and stuff with a creaminess. And I could throw like little like scallion onions or even, I hesitate to say it, capers.
No, I love capers.
I agree with you. Right the scallion onions I didn't think about, but little creamy cheese and some.
There's almost like a chivy kind of taste to this when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Which is something we talk about when we talk about Provençal rosé, is that it has this herbaceousness to it, and I kind of get that out of this.
I dig that. $19 a bottle.
Oh, that's great news.
It's really not a bad price point for the quality.
We start talking about European and moving through Asiatic areas. We're going to see more, I think, stuff from those areas just the Eastern European, just because a lot of the Western European stuff is just for whatever reason getting held up. And then we all know that there's a freaking, problem right now getting stuff off boats out of the ocean. And that's really affecting Australian wines, New Zealand wines.
Yeah, I was going to say
on the
Pacific
other side.
ports especially.
Yeah,
I think there are a lot of compounding issues leading to those situations.
I mean, we're gonna have a little shortage of some of the wines that we're very familiar with.
Well,
If you're not careful, you're gonna end up with a moonshining business or like liquor running business of running wine
That's
over.
right. Not to
Next
get-
thing you know, we're gonna have like 40 boats running in circles in the ocean, and then we're gonna have like NASCAR on the sea. I mean, that's how NASCAR got started.
Yeah,
like we're gonna end up having
and
the same
then you
thing.
send your boat out to the big boats, and that's how you go get stuff. Like we'll take one container.
And all you got to do is outrun the Coast Guard. Boom. Next thing you know, you got the Dukes of Hazzard on
This
the water.
sounds familiar. I feel like the same thing happened back in like 1860s.
I was thinking the same thing happened. Like
The blockade runners coming
Like-
back.
I was thinking more along the lines of
Like
1980s,
1920s.
1990s, only not wine, but
Oh, like the cigarette boats in Miami. And, yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to end up being like fine
we'll
board.
meet your boat out there, and we'll hightail it back.
I was watching there's Cocaine Cowboys of Miami is on Netflix or something. Those guys were brazen.
It's going to be the same thing, but this time it's going to be with like rosés and Bordeaux's. There's just somebody running a bunch of Bordeaux.
Who's to say they're not right? I mean,
and
John F. Kennedy, his
gonna be a bunch
family,
of longshoremen
he was
around.
president of the United States. His family, years ago, made fame shipping booze during the Prohibition. So who's to say it's not a good line of business?
All right.
I do think, though, to swing that around to a positive note and just stay away from the political end of that, is just that as there's shortages, it provides Americans an opportunity to showcase what it is that we can make here.
or what is available, because this is already in the U.S. from earlier.
That's right. And
Yeah,
expanding on trade partners we've had in the past that we may have overlooked because we talk about wine and we
but
talk
I mean-
about France, Italy, Spain.
Is anyone really worried about it that much? Because we have plenty of hazy IPAs to go around.
Speaking of, what's our?
Yeah,
well, we'll move on to
who's pouring the hazy IPA tonight?
I'm not. We don't have too much of this left over, but I did want to kind of give it. I can't remember if we've done this on the show or not.
I don't think we have.
This is the Killed by the State Italian Pilsner from New Anthem Brewing.
Wow,
Out of Wilmington.
we're tasting this.
And it's been kind of a slow mover for us here. I'm not gonna lie. So I figured like it'd be a good chance to
Been
get
looking
it on
at
the
these
show.
cans for a while.
Yeah, get it on the show. Let's talk about what we think about it. Flavor profile. It's an interesting style of beer. Italian pills.
What's a famous one? Peroni? Is Peroni a Pils?
Yeah, Peroni is technically a pilsner, so that's a classic one. Birra Moretti is another one that you might see often.
So, what is price point on this? Do you? Is it still on there?
just rubbed it up. 5 even.
Yeah.
Yeah, five even.
I think that
even.
may be a little bit of the
Yeah,
making it a slow,
So there's some sticker shock, you think, but that label,
because it's the pills.
yeah, $5 pint.
that
though.
NA
I mean,
label should overcome that, right? This is local brew. This is a notably good local brewery.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna knock New Anthem. They are a really good brewery.
yeah, I mean they make really good beer.
I think one of the, if there's a knock at all, and I don't want to get in trouble because I'm just saying, if there is a knock at all from New Anthem, which is an excellent brewery, is that they're always doing something new,
It's hard to keep up.
which is, like I said,
It's literally in the name.
yeah, you would think, well, what's wrong with that? Well, the only problem is I got to get rid of the last stuff first before I get into the new stuff.
Yeah, and then if people are like, "Well, I really like that,"
You know,
it's
I-
like,
I
well,
I had that one. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah.
It does kind of challenge me, and I think a lot of people who we associate with labels, we associate with names, We get favorites. We stick to it. We go back looking for that item, you know? How do I begin to expand to say, well, if you liked that, you're going to like this, you know? That's really the question.
So this is...
And they don't hardly say any information on the can.
No, yeah, that's New Anthem's thing. Is they'll logo, name, what it is.
Oh,
and the hops. And they'll put like the varieties of hops on there.
Speaking of hops, woo!
This, I will say I've had several of these in the past. And because like I'm very familiar with Peroni. I worked at an Italian restaurant as a chef. And we would get shift beers, which are technically illegal, but let's not bring that up.
I thought as long as the baker doesn't fall in the oven, he can keep drinking.
Depends
right?
what state you're in.
And also, as long as somebody pays for the beer, it's not illegal.
That's right. Theft is illegal.
Yeah, but as long as somebody pays whatever the price is for the beer, it's not illegal. Either way, so my shift beer was always Peroni because we had it on tap. And then, like, I'd always get a shot of grappa because nobody ever drinks grappa. And, you know, somebody had to clear the bottle out. And then I'd get a Peroni. And that was just what I did. And this does not quite taste like Peroni to me. I will say that.
No, it doesn't.
But it has a hop bite similar, but it doesn't have that distinctive skunkiness. I mean, Peroni has a skunkiness that's on level with,
In bottles.
with like Heineken.
In bottles, yes, because they all ship in green bottles. But on tap, it doesn't. It's not skunky. And Peroni's not really that hoppy either. It's a little hoppier than some of the German brethren, but this is just like really hoppy.
This is hoppy.
This is like very hoppy.
This is like... This goes right up there with what we have the IPL, the lawn darts in right now.
There is some brewery that I used to drink out of Italy, and I forget what they were, but they made some really high-profile beers back in the day, and they put some pretty hoppy stuff out, but I can't remember who they were.
Well, you know,
What is it,
this,
like a Vienna
this may
malt?
not be, you know, right in line with a Peroni as far as an Italian Pils, but I don't think it's bad at all.
It's not bad at all. It smells like an Italian Pils. I think it's a little hoppier than what you might be expecting going into it.
But then again, that's also New Anthem. I mean, like you said, they list the hops on the front of each label too.
Yeah.
So New Anthem is a brewery that's proud of their hops.
And they also use traditional hops that you'd find in Italian Pilsners too.
Yeah, and that's why they're going to say, here's the hops.
What does it say?
It is,
Saphir?
yep, Saphir and Nelson.
I mean, it's good.
And it's 5.1 ABV. So it's, it's just above session. It's right there in your porch pounder area. I think this is better in the warmer months, probably.
Better than...
I think it's better in the warmer months.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's a refreshing beer. I would have liked this popping off the mower.
Yeah.
You know, trimming up some hedges, come on inside, grab one of these. Maybe you don't even make it all the way. Just like get it and have it out in the garage. Stare at your Maserati
Your broken drive.
Triumph.
Shotgun it while you're watching your neighbors check the mail.
Shot can I get, Josh? I'm going to drink faster.
Oh, is he telling us something?
That's all you heard? You didn't hear the second half of my comment while you watch your neighbor check the mail? Come on. You never sat on your front porch and watched your neighbors do things?
Yeah, mail's very popular on my street. I swear, I think it happens every day, except for like maybe one.
My neighbors don't go out.
I like intentionally going up to my mailbox at like 11 a.m. on a holiday Monday and like opening my mailbox and just looking disappointed. Like knowing full well no mail came yesterday. There's none coming today. And just... Doesn't anybody work around here?
See, the trick is to say you forgot if you checked it Saturday or not.
Yeah, if you see your neighbors. And literally all I'm doing is it's my way to discreetly just spy on the block.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Like, oh, that is my neighbor's dog barking. Okay.
Because like if you have a straight road, then you can see down both sides of it.
No, I live on a horseshoe.
Right, yeah. So you get a better angle.
Yeah, you get and my mailbox is across the street, so I can I'm permitted, I can walk all the way into the thoroughfare, do some spy work, head back to the home nonchalantly.
Yeah, and you can hold traffic up too, like by taking your time dawdling in the road.
I love waving at my neighbors and slowing them down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Say your neighbors go into their houses, you wave them down, hey, how's it going? And then you make the signal for them to roll their window down,
and then you walk away
because you're indicating that you're going to talk to them, and then walk away. Yeah.
Yes, man, we'd be good neighbors.
So we have finished. We all have finished the Italian Pills, Killed by the State. So what song is that from? Because all New Anthem's names are from songs, right?
Killed by the State. I don't know. It sounds like a Rage Against the Machine song.
The lettering style looks like the way that with the guy
No, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's our show. I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Rob, you had the album, right? Yeah.
No,
You were busy in college when this one came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh was fresh on the planet. He honestly, first thing he heard, on his way home from the hospital, was, "Oh, dude, you tell me."
No. First thing I heard was probably the sweet, sweet sound of soprano sax from Kenny G.
No, that's how you were made.
Well, you can still hear it.
Conceived in a dentist chair? Yeah. What's your point here? That's dark. Sorry, it was the beer that did it.
I don't know what Josh's bedroom looked like before he was born, and neither do I care.
Well, I mean, it does remind us that even though Josh is a Brunswick local, he
was born in Georgia.
Like every other Brunswick County local was born somewhere else.
That's not true.
There's 40 whole people who were actually born in this county. I know.
That's not true.
They all married each other. I didn't finish that statement.
Yes.
Hey, see you at the reunion next week.
Before we get in trouble.
I didn't finish that.
Huh?
Nick, why don't you tell us what we're drinking tonight?
Something from the West Coast.
Yeah, the Black Butt.
Yeah. It's pronounced Butte, but that's fine. It's Black Butte. It's a triple X III, which also is the 33.
It's the triple X Black Butt.
Anyways, Black Butte it comes from Deschutes Brewery, which is, I believe, outside of Bend, Oregon, in the town of Deschutes on the Deschutes River. So this is a Pacific Northwest brewery in Oregon. You could describe its profile overall as Cascadian. I would just say that there are a number of breweries that kind of just fit into this cool little tight pattern of they've been doing the brew game for quite a while. Rob, what's the locale on that beer? He didn't get there yet. It's all right.
I'm reading the ingredients.
What's really cool about the Deschutes Brewery is
Or the tasting notes.
it's right outside of Smith Rock, and if you go mountain climbing, the first and last building you see before you get in and out of the state park is the Deschutes Brewery across the street from the Metolius Black Diamond factory outlet. So you go get climbing gear, drink a couple pints, convince yourself it's a good idea, and then go climb ridiculous 510s and 514s, and it's a great time. Anyways, so fond memories for me. This one again, also Black Butte Porter takes me back to times in Olympia at the. He just found some cool facts at the
12% ABV.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're also celebrating a 33-year-old brewery.
It is toasting the 33rd anniversary of Deschutes.
Their brewery coming to light is almost. I brought up rock climbing. It's not stupid to bring that up. popularization of technical rock climbing, and Smith Rock and those two brands I mentioned, along with Deschutes Brewery, are pretty much hand in hand.
But they actually don't put their address on the bottle.
I've wondered. There's a few breweries we've seen.
Oh, Bend, Oregon.
Bend, Oregon. Yeah. I could remember if they were in the town. There's a little tiny town called Deschutes, and it's not called Deschutes River. Okay, it's Deschutes.
Why would anybody think it was Deschutes?
I don't. To look at it.
It's Deschutes, man.
Easy for you to say.
Man.
It's Deschutes.
Thank you.
You pronounce the U the same way.
So the variation with this beer, versus the normal, you got it. The Black Butte Porter, which is one of their flagship beers. This is a barrel aged, and if I'm correct, a maple flavored.
So, yeah,
It's a something. It's definitely a something.
Marrying maple, chocolate, vanilla, and bourbon barrel aging.
Yeah. It tastes like it's got all that in it. Namely the bourbon.
At 12% ABV. Here we go.
So, I'm glad Ernie, the big Ern, got us started on something we could anchor down to for get ready for this, because this is a big dose. But porter quality definitely comes through versus being a stout.
I was just gonna say, normally there's not much difference between porter and stout. Between what we had earlier with Ernie and what we're having right now, there's a definite difference between the porter and the stout. The stout was much thicker and more viscous.
It's also been sitting in the bottle for 5 years.
I mean, my glass had chunks in the bottom. I don't know if you guys had that too.
Well, yeah, I had to.
But I mean, that I would akin more to aging than I would like stylistic differences.
For me, the difference just comes through in the malt, just offering a lot more fruit. I just get like berries and stuff like that coming out of this that I feel like the cinnamon and the bourbon is playing off of. Right down to like raisin date type fruit.
I'd say that comes more from the maple.
It could be.
Because, I mean, this to me, like, nothing about this differentiates this from a stout for me. Because it's thick, it's viscous.
I'm not getting the viscosity, though.
I'm getting viscous.
I think I'm with Josh on this one.
I mean, it's sticky. I mean, it's not like sticky,
I
but
wouldn't want to spill this. It'd take you a week to clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, this will stain a white shirt. It's just one of those things, like, it's really just a matter of, like, whether you want to call it a porter or a stout.
I like it. It is just big.
It's big.
I mean, the malt is just like big. Like I'm eating a bowl of cereal as I'm drinking a beer, and that bowl of cereal has been inside of a bourbon barrel. I don't think they wash these bourbon barrels out before they put the beer in.
No.
They just washed it with beer.
Yeah, you just pour it in on top.
And like the hop profile of this being imperial, this tastes way more like a Russian imperial stout than it does a porter.
Okay.
To me, that hop profile
I'll
is
give you
like
that.
it like that back end is bitter, and it's not bad. It's just it's very hoppy to balance out that sweetness, and that's something you typically see in Russian style imperials, just to counteract the sheer sweetness of the malt. Either way, it's really good.
What was price point on this guy?
I'm trying to remember what their stout was called. Look at the bottle. Oh, it was on the cap, but it wasn't on the cap.
It was on the cap.
It is on the cap. $6.25.
Okay.
Cap is actually really cool. It's got like an imprint on it. That's really fun.
I'll say for a 12% imperial age and all this stuff, that's an easy price point.
Yeah, I have no problem with that $6.25 on that. I mean, whew.
This is a very good beer, and if you like this style of beer, you're going to like this. But this is a very specific style.
I'm going to tell you too. At $6.25, I don't have a problem sharing this beer, even though it's
Obsidian Stout. I just remembered. That's what they call their stout is Obsidian Stout, so it's even blacker.
I mean, I don't have a problem at all sharing this.
Yeah, 12-ounce bottle is even.
It's so potent, punch you in the face.
It's not subtle.
Yeah, but it is enjoyable. Some of these, we've talked about this. Some of these Imperial, some of these Bourbon Barrel, they kind of get put together haphazardly. I do feel like this is put together well. Some of the flavoring was kind of interesting. Just going through it again, I mean, maple, vanilla, cinnamon. So kind of a breakfast style profile, right?
So that brings up another point. Is this similar to KBS? Is this?
Yeah, well, breakfast stout is not really a style of beer.
Or is this
It's
more of
just
a
kinda
velvet
something-
rush?
It's not really a style of beer. It's just kind of like what people call certain things. With the whole differentiation between porter and stout, like you're saying, like with their stout being the Obsidian, this could just be lighter than their stout beer.
Yeah,
A lot of breweries, their porters are more stout than some breweries' stouts. So it's really just a matter of perspective. I could see this being like KBS. I find it a little bit hoppy for like a breakfast style.
I kind of remember with West Coast porter stout conversation that the porters were always hoppy. Not like the stouts weren't hoppy, but like they really like made sure they met.
But
with
an
the hop
imperial, a
profile.
Russian style imperial stout's always going to be stupidly hoppy
Okay.
because that's just like in
Well,
the
that's
style
what we
of
had
beer.
earlier. Was he calls it Russian Imperial?
Mm-hmm.
This just says Imperial Porter, right? Flavored Imperial
Yes.
Porter.
The other thing you've got going on this is hops die off a lot quicker in beers than other flavors do. Malts, bourbon, that stuff's not going to leave. Hops, like after about a year, are really going to go downhill. IPAs don't age well for that. One fact. I mean, you have about like 90 to 120 days for premium, like fresh hop flavor.
I need to chase that with a little bit of water.
So if they aged in bourbon barrel, are they doing like a post-aging hop?
Aging in bourbon barrel, I mean, the bourbon flavor is not really going to leave. You're going to get alcohol content from the leftover whiskey in the barrel. And you're
So
gonna
you
get
do
a bourbon
get that.
flavor.
That is a true thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're aging it in something that's got like literal liquor soaked
So-
into it.
yeah, you don't. You're
Ernie
not
and I
washing them.
got discussed on this point earlier. The tribute, the Tom here,
Tributary.
the Mott the Lesser, the Todd says that this is 10.5%. Is that before or after the bourbon barrel?
It's probably after. Because, I mean, you have to label, like, everything you put in the bottle is like what's in the bottle.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
why
good
a lot
point.
of
Good
a lot of
point.
bourbon barrel aged things always have like weird percentages, like 14.9 or 13.2.
Things that you
Something that doesn't line up because when you homebrew, like you can
set
pretty
up
much
math.
clearly decide like 7.5, 8, 9. You're not once you age it in that bourbon barrel, then you test it out again, and you're like, oh, Jesus,
Yeah, we
I
picked
gotta
up
cut
something
this with
extra,
something,
yeah.
you know.
like vanilla bean.
And you never really know how much you're going to pick up from each barrel. Some barrels have more in them than others. That's where that blending aspect of the production process really comes into play, and where you can really tell the difference between a really good brewer and like a master is that if you're doing the barrel aging, is that blending aspect of it.
So, this may sound silly, but will they, after they brew the beer, goes through its fermentation in the hopper or whatever it is, the actual beer fermenter,
Yeah, like the fermenter, yeah.
and then they pump it into the barrels, they age it to the barrels. Will they take all those barrels and put them back into a hopper to blend them?
Typically what they would do is something like akin to that. Well, the other thing is you have to fill kegs and bottles up, and you wouldn't do that directly out of a barrel. I mean, you could, but it'd be easier to put them all in like another thing or
Larger
whatever.
vessel.
Pump them out of the
Something
barrels
you could
into like a
Kind
like
of
a-
pressurize.
Oh, the other thing is like a bright tank would be a conditioning tank. So you'd move it from barrel to like the bright tank.
and then that's where they would stop fermentation.
But what's cool
You could
about
stop fermentation there, or you could not, because most beer is not. You don't stop the fermentation as you would wine. You don't add sulfites to it to kill it, unless you have like a supremely commercial product like Budweiser or something like that, where you want a specific like flavor profile, ABV, all of that.
So, you think this is still like the one we had earlier was still fermenting in the bottle?
I think there was definitely the chance of it. There's a very good chance that was over 10.5.
What prevents it from exploding?
It runs out of fermentable sugars. The yeast dies. Yeast doesn't live forever, just like humans do.
Does it run out of oxygen, or does it run out of...
The alcohol content can get too high. Certain strains of yeast can't survive.
I'm just asking, like, I'm just wondering, how do they prevent the caps from blowing off if it's continuing to ferment?
You don't add extra sugars to it, and like each strain of yeast works however so long in like a certain environment.
Okay.
Specific strands of specific strands of yeast, like IPA strands, never really, once they hit about 8 or 9%, depending on the cell count of the yeast, they do their job and they die off. They don't just keep going. Eventually they die.
the alcohol itself starts thinning that colony.
If you want something to get to a higher ABV, you have to have a higher cell count beginning. If you don't, you start with less yeast. Certain strands of yeast, once you get to 10% ABV, they're all going to die. So you have certain carefully bred strands that...
like a Pac-Man.
Like Belgian yeasts have been bred for years and years and years to ferment out higher. They can tolerate higher acidities and higher ABVs. A lot of English strains can't.
Okay.
And they also get different yeasts and esters. Like, there's a whole wonderful world of yeast out there. With the bottle like this, you get it to a certain level to where it's ready, and there's going to be leftover yeast in there, but at that point, most of the yeast has done the bulk of its job already. If there is anything that's going to keep it going, it's only a few stragglers.
And those stragglers are what we encounter at the bottom of the bottle.
That it's also like actual contents of the beer, like that just coagulates over years of sitting. I mean, it could be like strands of protein. It could be like actual chunks of ingredients that so happen to coagulate.
I felt like with that one, honestly, to me, what it tasted and felt was like protein conglomerated, and then like sugars started just like gathering around it, and it could have all begun around the dead yeast. And then, like, what is protein going to stick to is the flocculated yeast.
Not all sugars in the beer are fermentable, you know?
Especially when we get into these darker beers with these really long boils on the malts, where we're talking about really complex sugars, getting into trisaccharides.
The residuals on that earlier, to me, tasted like chocolate. But
they did. It almost, the stuff down in the bottom looked and kind of had this taste like chocolate that was a whole separate thing from the rest of the beer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful world of just stuff. Like, how deep do you want the rabbit hole to go?
Yeah, well, you know, and we get into the rabbit hole every now and then on here, so, you know, let's
that
back
segment,
out of it.
that segment of the rabbit hole was brought to you by Josh.
Speaking of, Josh, did you have our first... No, we started with the wine tonight.
I didn't pick the wine.
We had the wine tonight. That was me.
Don't blame me for that one.
No. I forgot we started with wine instead of beer.
I like that one all the way down.
All right, so we're going to do a review. Now, the Kolyano white wine with maceration comes from Slovenia.
Bourbon. Whew.
I dig this. It's actually comes off as what's known as an orange wine. And you can definitely see an orange tint in the color. Made with red grapes. Maceration is, as we discussed earlier with Nick, is the
I almost got there for everyone.
The contact of these skins with the juice, and they're basically crushed, so they pop open, and then everything sits together there.
The key thing here that Rob was trying to point out is that they start fermentation while skin is still intact with the juice and the flesh. Then there's like a process of dragging that all out.
They drop the juice out so that the juice is, it's kind of like just before it turns to a red wine, for lack of just to keep it simple.
It's good. They like that.
I like this one. I come back to it. I'm glad I saved a little glass for me.
Yeah, a little.
there's a creaminess to it. Not a huge amount of fruitiness, and I think Josh said earlier raspberry versus strawberry. I'll agree with that.
Which is an odd profile for a
yeah.
rosé, you know.
Yeah, it's not quite as tart as a strawberry, but yeah, just a little tartness, but nice sweetness.
Man, now that we've had all these deep malts, I'm like almost catching like a mint leaf.
Yeah, I like coming back to it. After
That
too.
herbaceousness that we talked about earlier is really coming out now.
Like the hops combined with this creates like that spearminty kind of touch.
It really is, yeah. Which is
That-
not
that's-
unpleasant.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's kind of like those blackberry mint
I might
flavor
actually,
things we've been doing.
say, hey, go and drink a porter or stout before having this, because it's just going to be different. Because yeah, you're right. Right there on the back end, it kind of goes up into the olfactory.
Yeah, that was pleasant. I liked it.
Ooh.
I think this would be nice with a grilled whitefish or even a buttered whitefish. Cheese, a soft cheese with fruit.
I'm going to say I want to try sea bass with this and just find out if I'm right. I want to know.
I think it'd be good with the redfish.
Maybe tile.
I think I'm going to go 1.7 on this. I like this, especially at the $19 price point.
What is it? Redfish, bluefish?
Or one fish, two fish.
At the $19 price point, I like this at 1.7. It's nice to have the Eastern Bloc wines come through. I'm sure we're going to get more. In fact, I know we've already gotten more. We got the Bugari back plus a Bugari.
I get the feeling that Rob could do selfish with this wine.
I could be very selfish with this wine, but I could probably eat shellfish with this wine as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go 1.7. How about you guys?
1.7. That's a good place to start. Let me take a sip as I kind of think about that, because that's 1.7's a huge compliment. I feel like I'm very close. I love the refreshing quality of this wine, the drinkability. I don't necessarily need a plate of food in front of me to appreciate having this, and it doesn't turn.
And when I was talking about cheese and fruit, that was like a side thing.
Doesn't
That's
even
just a grab as I'm
It's not that aggressive that if I don't have something to eat, I can't drink this wine. I get a very just friendly feel. There's even a sweetness available at the very beginning of the taste on this wine, which I think we keep talking about fruit tones and fruit flavors, and we're trying to describe that for you. It's definitely a dry finish. It's definitely very rosé-like, but it's not rosé.
Yeah.
Okay, it's rosé-ish. Just as we talked about Sauvignon-ish, this is rosé-ish.
Yeah.
And it to call it akin to like some of the orange wines that we knew from like Austrian things, I don't know about that, but maybe more like that Georgian wine that we had that was like a white wine aged in the amphora that had this orange quality. I see a lot more similarity to that with this.
close to region.
It does have straight up, it has body like a Chardonnay. So like
I agree.
It is just there is body, there's complexity to drinking this beverage. And there's even a little like sting from the tannic, which is really fun, which probably has us thinking about things like raspberry where there's like that little bit of an edge to it. I like this 1.65. I can't go 1.7. I don't know why. I just can't.
Just can't agree with me. Okay, I got
I'm very defiant.
you. Josh, how about you?
I have to say, I'm probably going to be a little bit surprising with this one.
He's going to go negative.
I'm a huge rosé fan, as everyone here knows. Rob's known from day one. I'm a huge fan of Tavel and all that. It's probably one of my favorite wines out there. I don't hate orange wines. I like them. I respect them for what they are. They're not my thing. Kind of like Pinot Noir. Everyone here knows that I'm not a Pinot Noir
He
fan.
actually does like Pinot Noir. He's coming around to it.
No, I like some Pinot Noirs.
Every distributor rep is bringing a Pinot Noir.
I
Says, I like that.
I enjoy some Pinot Noirs, but as a whole, for the most of them, the stereotypical Pinot Noir is not my thing that I would buy or consume. Orange wines, I've had some really good orange wines.
If we get to a 7th bottle on Sunday, we're opening a bottle of my Dumal.
Okay, I know. You. Everyone is hell bent on this whole Pinot Noir thing. Orange wines, I've had some I really like. This is a really cool wine. Where I feel like this fits in is red wine drinkers that don't necessarily want to drink white wine, but they need to find something to compromise with people can sit in on. This is a cool one for fall with food or by itself. I like it. It does have the body of a Chardonnay, and I'm a big Chardonnay drinker too. So I'm gonna give this one 1.5. Like it's a solid. Yeah, it's not. I'm not going negative on it. Like I like this wine, especially at the price point 19 for the quality of it. It definitely tastes like a good one.
I am a little surprised.
If I'm going to drink wine that is around this color spectrum, I shy more towards rosés with the brighter acidity, more of the strawberry, watermelon aspects. Yep. That's just my flavor palette, you know. But I like this.
Ernie chimes in and says, "Thank God for hazy IPAs."
Something tells me Ernie got home and had a beer. Dude, by the way, he shot me a glimpse of his chill out area. He's got like 4 bookshelves filled with records, like an amazing sound system, and just one chair to sit on with like a Rambo shag rug in front of him.
Do you remember?
Like, it's like a pleasure dome.
Do you remember when I lived down here and we had the spare room?
Oh yes, I remember.
And it was the
spare room.
futon and my sound system. And if I ever got really upset with either the roommate or just life,
you could lock yourself in the room.
You could lock yourself in the room and just cut the music up really loud. It was like soundproofed, and you could just like.
It was about as wide as a closet,
and you could just roll with it.
Sometimes that's what you.
I did.
So you said 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
That's respectable. I mean, it's not your style of wine, but you
I would definitely buy this. Though,
Look,
you know?
and you're not going to turn it down if it's poured for you.
Oh hell no!
Anything that Josh and rating and Rob for this matter, I'm not going to rule him out. Anything 1.5 and above from any of us that's a good product.
Anything one and above.
I was going to say at least 1.25. I mean, but you can,
we just like to leave room for excellence.
I look at this as a 1 is a positive. Anything less than 1 is getting into negative, and then anything above 1 is.
I see it that way too, and we leave room for excellence, and we've definitely encountered excellence on the show.
Oh yeah.
So that brings us up to
Killed by the State.
New anthem, Killed by the State. Italian Pills. This was yours, Josh. So lead us off on it.
I will start off with this one. I've had this beer multiple times, and I did want to bring it on the show just so we could actually have like a legit discussion about it. I'm not the hugest fan of this beer. I've had a lot of stuff from New Anthem I really like, and this is a high quality beer. I don't think, having drank as much Peroni and Birra Moretti and Italian Pilsners that I've had, I don't know that that's what I would have called this, but that's also my perspective.
Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels is a great band.
Yeah, Walking in the Snow is where you get the lyrics.
Oh my God. That's from the new album, too. That's a really good song. And I sent the lyrics of that song to Josiah when that album came out. I'm an idiot for not knowing that.
Does that change your perspective on the beer?
No, that just makes me think Aaron's even cooler than he already is. Besides the T2 pinball machine. It's a solid beer. It's not my favorite they've done. So I'm gonna give it a 1.25. It's well made. I can't knock it. It's a little hoppy for what I would consider an Italian Pils. But that's just my perspective.
All right, I think I'll follow that up. Like I said earlier, New Anthem's a really good Wilmington brewery. Craft, they do it. They know what they're doing. They put out good beer after beer after beer. To me, it's an Italian Pils to me. It doesn't have the funk of a Peroni, but I think we talked about that with the green bottling. And I always associate Italian Pils having a funk. I think this hit us at the time where we just had a lot of New Anthem stuff in, and it's just kind of sitting there waiting to sell out. I don't think that detracts from the quality of the beer.
Yeah.
I think at a $5 price point from New Anthem, 5.1 ABV, it sits there at Italian Pils, and I believe it or not, I can tell the difference between Italian and Czech Pils. I think this kind of hits me in the flavor profile more of an Italian Pils versus Czech Pils, other than the funk. Although I would be interested to try a Peroni off the tap, to see what it tastes like without the funk. I'm gonna go 1.4 on this. It's not a bad beer at all. Is it one I'm going to go to every day? Probably not, but it's a pretty good beer.
Yeah.
Killed by the State, I just thought was like excellent. Yeah, it was a little Run the Jewels reference for you there.
Which, by the way, if you've never listened to them,
I did actually, and I'm starting to read these lyrics, and I realized
they're
I do
one
know
of
this
the
song.
Killer Mike and LP, dude. They are one of the last bastions of actual hip hop out there.
This is actually, I'd go say anyone who thinks they like hip hop or even just wondering what's going on with modern hip hop and stuff, check out this song. Honestly, like I'm probably gonna, Josh and I are probably gonna listen to this after the show.
Which means so is Rob.
New anthem. Thank you again for
and
reminding me.
Rob is gonna like it.
Rob probably doesn't want me to say the line on.
Why don't you go to the beer?
We'll talk about that later. I liked it. How much I liked it is really the essence of the moment right now. All these guys said all this stuff. Yes, it's very reminiscent of our favorite Italian Pilsner. So, yeah, aptly named. No fooling me there. Great job. It's extremely hoppy, and I like that. But it also has that crisp, tiny little creaminess that Pilsner offers you, especially Italian Pilsner. That's, I feel like there's some reason why I didn't drink all of these then, because if I like it this much right now, what was it? And I don't know. I just think maybe it was even like somebody just telling me they didn't like it. And then I was like, oh, I don't know. I'll drink other stuff. Or I looked at the label long enough in the fridge. Stop pointing fingers, Rob.
The
I'm
camera
sure they
can
got
see
the
you
innuendo.
pointing a finger.
I'm pretty
Camera
sure
did
they
not see
got
me
the
pointing
innuendo.
any fingers at all. I made sure the camera did not see you pointing any fingers.
I'm glad you're pointing at the crispy bacon tombstone.
We could make it yours.
You're not the State. You can't kill me.
That's right. Just remember the hero was killed by the State. Basically, I liked it. I didn't love it. And so this is where I'm a 1.6.
That's where I was at, too.
Yeah.
1.6, really?
Yeah, this would be great with pizza. I don't know what else I'm doing
See,
with this.
my like it, didn't love it, landed me at 1.4. I'm surprised.
Yeah, but I love hops.
I
I
maintain
love
my
hops.
1.25.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take that. Okay, that brings us to this bastard. And I say that with a loving note.
Can I start?
Yes, it's
I'm
yours.
not
You start
sure
with
that, because I'm the one who brought it to the party anyways. I'm not sure I even could have handled this if we didn't start the whole tasting out with like a really nice touch.
I could have handled it if we didn't split it up.
I'm very happy that we split it. And I think as I'm pondering future applications of this beer, I sure hope somebody's splitting.
Future application of this beer.
Yeah.
Like it's some kind of medicated salve.
Hey, I'm going to go and get all
You guys don't show up to a party with a 6-pack like it's just straight up medicine. Not for you, for the party.
I'm going to bring all 12% stouts, and we're going to share all of them.
It's gather around.
Yeah, you show up with your 6-pack like it's a first aid kit. It's like, if you keep talking, you're giving me a lesion on my brain, and I'm going to have to patch it up.
I'm gonna patch it up. I'm starting to get it. Thank you, Ron the Jewels.
Yeah, it's like, why won't you let me have one of your beers? Because these are for me.
Look what I just pulled out the glue. Who put that in there? Oh, man. Well, when they do bobbing for beers, I'll make sure one of these lands in there.
Oh man, you brought 2 6-packs? No, I brought you one.
This thing is real deal. It definitely, you taste the booze. It was aged in bourbon barrels. I can tell.
Yeah.
Like specifically bourbon,
Without a
yes.
doubt.
Specifically or specifically?
Specifically bourbon, yes. Given that it's Deschutes.
Specifically.
I love my Pacific Northwest beers.
Specific Pacifics. Absolutely.
I'm just a huge fan. They bring me back to when I first started getting into craft beers. Thirsty Thursdays at Olympia. This was one of the ones we had on tap on regular.
You really
not
had
this
this on
age,
tap?
not this age.
Okay.
No, what we would get,
Was
the closest
Blackbeard.
thing we would get. Well, Blackbeard Porter was steady on tap. You could rip those nonstop in between Eye of the Hawks, and
Mendocino?
yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, man. That was the labels were terrible, but
They were so
the beer was good.
A 9.5 IPA was just great. Their Obsidian Stout they used to do in like a cask. We would do the slow draw cask, and that was insane. And then they would do it nitro driven. That was my first ever nitro beer. So, like, I mean, honestly, if this
That was your first nitro beer?
was an Obsidian Stout from these
Not
guys.
Guinness?
I don't even know if Guinness was
You
pouring.
never had a Guinness draft anywhere before that?
When did Guinness start pouring on nitrous?
1954.
Well, no, Guinness was cask poured for years, but nitro was a substitution for cask. All nitro does is simulate cask beer.
Whenever it came to the U.S.
So the fondness with me and Deschutes is just huge. So there are several things I like about this beer just on reminiscence alone. Sharing this with my friends, having them try something from my past is great. Just as Ernie was in here sharing something from his geography and his past. So, however, this beer is $6.75, and I believe the one we tasted before the show, what did he say? That was like a $35 beer.
Yeah.
I can see the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would love to age out a Black Butte and tell you guys, oh, check this out 5 years from now.
That's true, too. That's been sitting in bottle for 5 years.
And you know that also factors
6
into
years.
a price point. Like,
Yeah. So I feel like $6.75 is fair.
What do you charge per year for aging? What's the aging
Well,
price?
yeah, it's what actually is it 5 or 6 years? It's 2006.
2016. Yeah, 2016. So 5 year.
5. And then yeah, it's what is it? 19-ounce bottle.
This is Rob and Josh doing math.
I mean,
Long story short, that
Very
bottle
long
of beer could to the right person be worth some money. And
However, at $6.75, I feel like the Black Butte, the 31 is really 33. Sorry, 33 is really doing it. Because basically they give you the price of a pint, and I don't want a glass pint of this beer. I want to get it in bottle and share it with some people
I agree.
in the middle of a session. I'll be quite honest. It's just that strong.
yeah, it is.
Because you're not driving anywhere if you drink a whole bottle of this.
No,
Type
not a
of
whole
thing.
Bottle, no.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to.
Whole bottle, Josh. Whole bottle.
Sips, we're good. I'm honestly, guys, this is not like top notch beer, but this is like right under that tier, and I'm gonna throw this thing a 1.8.
Nice. Josh.
All right, so I'll follow that one up. By the way, I could totally have one of these and still drive home.
Yes.
Because I've also drank 2 pints of Bourbon County and driven home before.
You're a fool.
No, I didn't drive. I walked home.
Okay, walked him. There you go.
Well,
That's
either
better.
way, I could still walk.
He did say
Home.
get home, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't walk straight, but I walked home. Yeah, I took some of the back roads.
That's what they mean by walk straight.
So yes, I do agree with you that no one actually needs a pint of this on tap. Like that's a terrible idea. And Bourbon County's even worse. But I do like the way it tastes. I think it has a lot of potential. I would like to see it aged compared to fresh out of the bottle, but I think fresh out of the bottle it's really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna echo you on this one with the 1.8. I think it's really well made. The price point is in line with what you should pay for 12%, really special, limited release beer. Deschutes as a brewery is not my personal favorite brewery out there. They have some things I like. As a whole, I think when they expanded as rapidly as they did and went from West Coast to East Coast, I feel like there was a drop-off in quality. This reminds me of more of what they were known for versus what they are known for now.
I wonder if that's what's holding you and me back that point to take this thing to a 1.9.
I think it is. I honestly believe it is. But I think this is more akin to what they were known for before.
And did you give it a 1.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that really is where I'm at with it. Like, this is what they used to do.
Yeah. I'm at Thirsty Thursday in Olympia.
Yeah.
So
Job done. Yeah.
I'm a little not concerned. I'm a little confused.
You've got some messages.
Ernie's latest post is front lawn counts.
Are you home? I'm in the front lawn.
Okay. All right.
Did you make it in the driveway?
He's listening to us in the car.
Yeah, did you make it into the driveway? The front lawn counts.
All right, gotcha. All right.
Totally. Your front lawn, right?
That works.
Okay, yeah. As long as it's your lawn.
A front lawn counts.
Yeah, definitely. Just
My
get off
neighbor's
the road.
counts too. It's close.
So that brings me to my review of Black Butte 33. It's their 33rd anniversary Imperial Porter with all that good, yummy maple, vanilla, chocolate, whatever that they added.
Yummy booze.
That was a big beer, boys.
It's been hiding on our shelves.
So, I think Josh said he'd like to see this aged for a year or two. I think he might be able to see that because I honestly don't think this is going to be a huge seller.
We haven't even thrown it in the fridge yet.
But that's not a big deal. I think this is one of those that it can sit there for 6, 8, 12 months. And the beer drinkers are going to come in and be like, you still have that.
Yeah.
I think
and then we're going to be like, yeah, let's see what it tastes like a year after it was,
I put it on the show tonight as a second look. So you're technically talking about a third look.
And honestly, there are quite a few of our stouts and porters that are that way right now. We have some really good stouts and
It
porters.
may not be the worst idea when we get a case in like this to just take a sixer and set it to the side.
Yeah.
Just for future reference.
And that may be something we do down the road. But, whoa, excuse me.
I want to rent cabinet space to our customers. We'll age the beer for you.
I thought you were going to say I
Please.
want to rent and I wanted to
Please.
like that musical too.
Let Josh age your beer.
So,
Just let Josh age your beer.
Look, I will tell you, the bourbon counties from last year, the special ones lasted 9
We
months
won't
at
drink
the
it.
house.
No.
yeah, the special ones didn't last at all at my house.
They lasted 9 months at my house.
So, getting back to this beer for me,
Gotcha.
for my rating. This was as big a beer as I've had this year so far. We are getting into the fall, and that's when all the big stouts and porters come out. And this is like the tip of the spear. And I forget who said it, but
Just the tip.
no, well, I forget who said it, but in more the
It's
tip
still
of the
the
spear should
spear.
be the sharpest, part of the spear. This thing was pretty damn sharp.
Yeah.
It had a lot of booze to it, yes. However, it kept the flavor profile of stout / porter. You got the bourbon barrel. I know it was in there because the flavor profile was in there. There was the
8.2.
burn of the bourbon. Chocolate, vanilla, maple all came through.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice flavor profile. Definitely don't want to drink this myself, or at least 2 of them. Maybe I'll drink one of them and then sit at the end of the night and be like, that's all I'm having for the rest of the night. Probably not. I'm going to go 1.8 as well with you guys.
Woo!
Oh yeah, I will say that beer tasted strong enough and was strong enough that's one of those ones where if I drank too many of those in one sitting, I would pull that same damn thing where I ordered 3 copies of the same book from 3 different websites because I forgot I ordered it.
That's right. And
I would be so
that is the drunk eBay night.
drunk.
And you end up with 3 copies of the same damn book, paid 3 different things for it, and now you're like, well, what about I do 3 copies of the same
I'm
book?
just glad my texting app has a breathalyzer.
All right, and to keep it short and sweet, because we are way long, we're almost going on an hour and 40 minutes.
What?
It's good to have Josh back.
But to keep
The old
it short
windbag.
and sweet, Ernie asked, what did you rate the Mott?
Oh,
195 on me.
That's a 2.25 for me. If I had an extra quarter of a thumb,
I'm just gonna give it 2 thumbs up.
All right, there you go, Ern.
that's stupidly good.
Yeah, it was
It's a go.
It was nasty good. All right, guys. Josh has something to say.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And no one has brought us spam yet, so I'm really upset about that. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you're looking for something to talk about when you're responding to Josh, just remember, what are you drinking now?
And anything, well, spam's okay, but
Oh, like, comment, and subscribe.
yeah, like, comment, subscribe below. Spam's okay, but yeah, hey,
Treats better.
the charcuterie tray with the pepper jelly was freaking awesome.
That was
Jess.
really nice.
Treat is way better
All
than
right,
spam.
guys. You take care. Have a good week.
Actually, potted meat would be good.
We will see you next week.